welcome to GaruleNet. This is GaruleLive on Facebook. And I'm your host, Wally Sarkisian. Wow, we have a guy today. He's full of knowledge. We have Stepan Partamian. We've been telling you that. He's a very intelligent, very smart guy. You might agree with his opinion or not. That's a different story. But we're having here today to tell us, is the Christianity asset or liability? That's the topic today. Of course, we're going to get into many things because he is going to move to Armenia soon, and in a couple of months. He's going to tell us a little bit about that. So let's welcome Stepan. Please tell. Well, no. Here is this. He called himself Armenian Social Critic.
Yes.
I call him Armenian language policeman.
Well, not necessarily the language, Wally.
Yeah.
Everything we do as Armenians, we do it because our ancestors did it. But we have never questioned ourselves if what our ancestors did was the right thing or the wrong thing. Because we have this tendency to feel that whatever it's Armenian, it has to be perfect. But we don't understand that we're just like any other human beings. We might be wrong or we might be correct. And usually in today's society, we have more wrongs than rights. And that's where Armenians disagree with me, because I talk about how we can change the wrongs to become rights. Whereas Armenians, in their mentality, it is, we are always right. We are always right. And the idea of Christianity, in my opinion, is the worst thing that ever happened to Armenians. Yet because of our ancestors worshipped it, then automatically in today's society, we have to worship it. But if you sit down and you analyze all those things, you'll find out that there was lots of damages that Christianity has done to our own identity.
How did we become a Christian? Or did we volunteer
By
or
force.
they force us?
By force. I mean, every historian will tell you that, except Armenians. They're going to tell you, oh, we accepted it. I mean, right now between you and me, two Armenians, we will disagree on 99% of everything. So imagine a whole race overnight accepts Christianity. And that's where the fiasco starts. History tells us King Dertat was having an issue between the Persians and the Romans. And Armenians, as we always are in the slave mentality, even back then, we were siding on the Persian side and we're siding on the Roman side. So the way he could unite his kingdom was to introduce this new faith, because peasants are always controlled by faith. So the idea of Christianity came to existence, where it united Armenians towards this idea, but then Saint Gregory took advantage of it, because Saint Gregory had a huge revenge to take for the killing of his whole family by Dertat's family, whose Dertat's father was killed by Saint Gregory's father. Therefore, all members of the community, all members of the Kirko Lusavoric were killed, except him as a baby. Somebody stole him and took him to Greece, where he got educated and then came back to take a revenge. And the idea of Dertat having the pig nose, pig ear and everything, King Dertat had a syphilis. At that time, they called it that he had a pig nose and pig face. And then Gregory, knowing chemistry, he cured him. But again, see, here's the idea. The first Christians in the empire of the King Dertat were the soldiers, because he gave an order to the soldiers to become Christians and follow Kirkor to every corner of the kingdom, and by force kill if nobody turns into Christianity. And now we are so proud of our Christian faith that destroyed our Armenian identity, and that's how hypocritical Armenians have become. And when you talk about those things, people don't like you.
So is not Christian the one, where was Mr. Mashtots created Armenian language? Was he Christian, right?
Well, it was what the church has. See, our history is written by a few people, and they were all being subsidized by the church. Mesrop Mashtold was the creator of the Armenian alphabet, yet how come we see the Armenian alphabet, some 7,000 year old, on palagraphics inscriptions at different parts of Armenia and the world? He presented it in a very unison, he collected everything that we were using in different ways and presented it. But it wasn't God who came down and said, this is I, this is Pen, this is Kim. I mean, if we had a huge culture, we call ourselves cradle of civilization. And if we are the cradle of civilization with math, science, and everything, and we didn't have language, I think there's another hypocrisy there. But we did have a language, we did have a way of communication, we did have a way of talking, writing, and all those things. But at that time, the church came and said, this is how it's going to continue from now on. And the irony is, we call the 5th century our golden age of Armenian literature. And just like today, when we talk about Armenian culture, which is the musical heritage, is only adaptation of the Greeks and the Turks and the Kurds and the Persians, we just copied the Bible into Armenian, and we called it that we have the golden age of Armenian literature, where in the 12th century, in the 14th century, in the 17th century, there were so many Armenian intellectuals who had their unique inscriptions, unique stories to tell, and we don't consider that. I mean, look at just like 100 years ago, Bayrus Sevak, Hovannes Shiraz, Amosayan, and all those, Silva Gabudikian, Vahan Tekeyan, Derian, Rafi Siamanto. I think that's more golden age of Armenian literature than just a stupid few people coming together and translating from Greek and Jewish language the Bible and calling it the jewel of all translations. I mean, you need to have a track record of translation so that you can consider what you have done to be the jewel of all translations.
So where do you have this much knowledge? Where it comes from?
Oh, God gave. All you need to do is do just research. I mean, we have to have an open mind, open brain. My father was a spiritual person. My mom was a spiritual person. They went to church, they prayed, they read the Bible and everything. It doesn't mean that if they did it, I have to do it too. So I'm an individual by myself. I utilize logic. I did my research. I found certain things that it's not cohesive with our identity.
So,
I mean,
when did you realize that this Christianity is a fake thing that you start speaking about? At what age or what happened?
I think it was my mid-30s or late 30s, where I had my major shift from following to just being a human being who's witnessing. See, there's a difference. I'm not going to say I became a leader. I just started witnessing things. I was a follower. They told me you have to do this. I got married. I had a kid. I baptized the kid. I myself have been baptized. But apparently that baptism doesn't work, because right now, God's baptism of me in an Armenian church did not make me an Armenian. My logic, my research, and trying to understand that any faith is just an international ideology, any faith. And now Armenians are so stupid that the minute I talk about Christianity, they tell me, oh, you're a Muslim. Why? Because I have a goatee. I say, look at your clergymen. They all have goatees, or they have beard, or look at any other faith. So basically, when you read about the Christian faith or any other faith, the international or internationalism comes in. And the Bible has very strict places where it tells you you cannot have your national identity. So what the Armenian king did, he tried to make it into an asset, and then he forgot about the liability. So it became a liability where you lost your identity, but it became an asset when you united your people under one idea. But unfortunately, the idea was not to Yerevan or to the capital of Armenia at that time where it was to Jerusalem. Jerusalem, Gam Yerevan. So every Sunday when people go to the church and listen to the Badarak that hasn't changed except for certain things musically for the last 1700 years, it just tells you to go to Jerusalem. But don't we have Yerevan that we need to go and make Yerevan a better place than any other place on this planet? Because we have been making old countries into a better place to live, but not Yerevan itself.
Wow. That's interesting. Like in church, it's so archaic. Like you go there, if you have a hat, yeah, they're considered mehki. Don't do it. You know, they have to take it off. I was in Yerevan, outside Yerevan, one of those monastery, with a camera, taking a picture. I had this baseball hat on it, and there was 3 priests was running after me. I thought I committed crime. I thought maybe cameras no da. It was like, where did these ideas come from?
Well, it's a man-made ideas. Anything that suits you as the person in charge of a location, you can do. If I went to that priest and I said, here is $1 million to renovate your church here, then he would have allowed me to take my girlfriend inside and make out in the church. Is it extreme idea? Now people are going to say, this guy is very extreme in what he's saying. But basically, those rules are made by men. The Bible doesn't tell you don't wear a hat when you're talking to God. If that is the case, I mean, God doesn't, they say God is the nicest person on this planet, yet he's the worst to punish you. I mean,
that was the question I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So I believe in there is a God, there is some power, but
it's your right to believe in that.
But those dealership, Christian, Muslim, just I call them dealership. I have my doubt about those things, But so you don't believe even with God, right?
No. Yes, I don't believe that there is a power, because if there's a power, let me take me away from this planet that I'm enjoying. People create powers because they lack understanding of what's going to happen to them after that. From kings to emperors to a common villager or a common person, educated or uneducated, they all have one fear. What's going to happen to me when I close my eyes and there is no power in my body? I personally, I don't give a shit. Sorry for my Armenian. I don't care. Because whatever is going to happen is going to happen. It's not in my control. What is in my control is the time I'm spending on this planet to be a good person, to be a knowledgeable person, to help another person. Oh, you're acting like a Christian. No, I'm acting like a human being. But everybody wants to take the credit to something else, but not to themselves.
But you do lots of good things. You have you contribute lots to Armenian cause. You do art stuff. You do winer festival.
But I don't do it. I don't do it because I'm going to get redemption when I die, and God is going to take me to His side.
I'm talking about Armenian, as Armenian.
Yeah.
You were part of the Rose Parade, and so you involve in lots of things you do.
I usually take the idea of being an Armenian in the U.S. and present it to the 350 million people, and that's where I am different than anybody else, because everybody else takes the idea of being an Armenian, goes to their own kitchen, in this club, in this church, in this youth organization, and start preaching to the choir, where we have the ability to go to 350 million people and say, we are different. We Armenians are different. You like it or not. We are the oldest people on this planet. And then with the Armenian faith, we're Christians. But you're an hypocrite when you say that, because Christianity is giving you almost 2,000 years of existence, or 3,000 years of existence, where you existed for thousands of years. The oldest winery in the world, in that Areni cave, is before Noah's Ark, then it is not yours. If you believe in that you're a descendant of Noah, it is not yours because you did not exist when the Areni winery or the winery in that cave existed. That's 6,100 years ago. Noah's story is 4,300 years ago. And then the funny thing is, Noah's three sons, one of them Hapet's grandson's grandson is our forefather called Haik, who fought in Assyria, in Mesopotamia against Haik, against Pel. He killed him, he collected his clan and went to the Armenian highlands. So Armenian highlands did not exist because if Haik is our predecessor, is our first Armenian, then how come he went to Armenian highlands? So by itself, when you read those things, there's so much hypocrisy in it, contradictions of each other. So if the oldest shoe, the leather shoe that was found in the Areni cave is 5,100 years ago, it is 700 years before Noah. So that shoe is not an Armenian shoe. So here comes the Christian faith as a liability to the Armenian existence to demise you from what belongs to you so that you as a major power in the world with knowledge, language, heritage that you gave to everybody else, you could become nobody. And we right now, we don't need the Turks to eliminate us. The Turks have no interest in eliminating us. The Turks care less about eliminating us. We are doing it to ourselves with the Christian faith. Because we're telling the world, listen, we are descendants of Noah. But stupid, Noah is only 4,300 years ago. But your highlands, the Armenian highlands, existed for thousands of years before that. Even in Western Armenia, where in Urfa, the latest findings of 12,000 years old temple in Urfa, something, I forgot the name right now. I'm so emotional. Anyway, when it comes to my mind, I'll say it. I'll say it. Doesn't belong to you then. Because you did not exist at that time based on the Christian faith. So it is not an asset. It is a liability to eliminate yourself. You're helping yourself to be eliminated.
So if you had the power, you are a president of diaspora, what would you do with the Christianity?
First, I don't want to have a power. I don't want to be the president. All I want Armenians to utilize the ability of knowledge. Don't do things because your father did or your grandfather did. Your grandfather did not have an iPhone that I'm sitting right now in Glendale and talking to you in Irvine, and the whole world is watching us on Facebook. Your grandfather did not have that thing.
That's true.
They were able to tell him, Astvaz goknekezi. The guy died without Astvaz helping him. Okay? But today, in technology, we are still believing in something that's, if your child comes and tells you, I have this imaginary friend who every night comes to my bedroom and tells me a story, you start telling your child, my child, yes, that's a nice story that you're telling me. But you know, in reality, you are thinking of somebody who's coming for you, but he does not exist. Then you tell him, go read this Bible. It's all imaginary characters in there. And they're doing things that, they're doing things because God told them that you can do that thing. So here you're lying to your own child. Your child is saying, I'm sexually feeling something. Say, no, Zavagas, my kid, now you don't talk about that thing. When you grow up, you will learn about it.
Yeah.
Yet you give in the Bible, where in the Bible, they're talking about how to have sex. So instead of, would you give a Playboy magazine or any sexual education magazine to your kid and tell him, have it next to your bed every night, read from it? You say, no, amote. But you're giving a Bible where the father is doing the daughter is doing the brother is doing the mother. All the stories are in the Bible. And it's just next to your kid's bed that he can open up. And in God's power, he will open up and find out and read about those things. So here is how hypocritic religious people are.
But isn't this is not just Armenian phenomena? It's like most countries do this.
I know, but my concern is being Armenian.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be a Chinese person. I respect the Chinese culture. I'm not here to be a Mexican. I respect the Mexican culture. But my DNA is an Armenian DNA, which is different from anybody else. And it is not in a fascist, racist way I'm saying this thing. It is scientifically proven that our DNA is different from the rest of the world.
And especially when we have this long history, why do we power ourselves with a Christian engine? You know, when we have our own engines, it's just basically we're just using Christianity's engine to power our Armenian.
Well, but you need to understand something. As Armenians, we are just getting educated. When I say just, because for 12,000 years of existence and the last 2,000, 3,000 years of hypocrisy in our lives, with the Soviet Armenians' existence and the diaspora existence, in the early 50s, after the World War II, that's when my parents' generation, my generation, and my kid generation started getting education. Before that, we were just peasants. There was only one doctor in the whole village. Today, Glendale has 100,000 Armenian living here. Probably 20,000 are doctors in different fields.
Yes.
So we are getting just in the last 100 years, not even 100 years, in the last 50, 60 years is where the new Armenian is being born. The new Armenian who's questioning everything.
It's true.
Yes, there are people who are just following what their ancestors did. But with education comes the question, why?
Was you published a book of Armenians, what they created, inventors and all that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing when you look at that just.
Well, again, see, that book I published for one reason and only one reason. 90% of those people have no benefit to Armenians. They only benefited me. Because years ago, in around 2000, when I said we need to document our existence on the planet in the 21st century. And everybody said, what do you mean? I said, well, we are so proud of, when the Roman Empire did this, when the Byzantine Empire did this, but we have never documented because we were peasants. We didn't have the knowledge of how to document. Today, or back in 2000, or just smartphones and small cameras, you can document everything.
Yeah.
So I asked organizations to provide some funds for travels to document. And everybody thought that I'm using them and their money for my personal pleasure. But if I told them I'm going to go to Western Armenia and document all the destroyed locations that they don't exist, they would have immediately provided me with funds. So what I did, because I'm a logical person, I came up with a book called Yes, We Have, because Barack Obama that year, instead of uttering the word genocide, he said, the United States of America is a much richer country because of many Americans of Armenian descent have contributed to its enrichment. So I said, yes, we have. And I put all the proofs, all the patents, all the biographies. And they are very small, short, because people don't have a spam of reading huge books. So each page had a one item. So I sold those books because an Armenian, when you say any Armenian, this is invented by an Armenian, say enough making fun of ourselves. Okay, here is the proof. Here is the US patent, number this, on this date and on such and to this person. Give me $20. Take this book. I sold 4,000 books. So instead of going to organizations and saying, help me, I said, buy these books to individuals. And I documented 580 locations in the US in 2009 and 2012. It took me that much time because to sell all those books. Till today, I have documented 25 countries in the world with everything Armenian as locations. I have no interest with the multi-billionaire Armenian who lives in those countries, the Armenian alphabet in a public place, the Armenian tricolor in a public place, and in local language, Armenian names. And that's our empire in the 21st century. So that's why I published those books. Now, just 2 weeks ago, I destroyed 3,500 coffee table books that says the Armenian America, which had pictures of 580 locations in the US in the 21st century till 2012, because nobody has interest. I took it to the recycling company and I put it on Facebook with all the hoopla of me destroying those books. And people said, give it, donate it to Armenian colleges, Armenian schools, give it to Armenian kids. I said, that Armenian school has a budget of $2 million annually. When it comes to an Armenian identity, they need it to receive for free. But whenever it's not Armenian identity, they will pay top dollars. So that was a statement I made. But I do have an app called Partam All Things Armenian. And Partam means wealth. Armenians are so stupid. When I say Partam the app, they say, what, you want everybody to know your last name? I say, if you guys are ignorant and you don't know the Armenian language, therefore you will assume that what you're saying. But if you knew that Partam means wealth, and it's not monetary wealth, it is all these locations. So it is a free app on Android and iPhone called Partam All Things Armenian. It has USA, Canada in it, and some of the other places I documented. So the minute I move to Armenia, I will have time to sit down and input over 2,000 locations in 25 countries.
Did you travel those places or?
Yes, with your money. Hashtag Sev Tramov. That is my slogan. You buy a book, instead of me taking that money and spending it to buy a house in Glendale, or to buy a brand new car, or just go out to and drink and have a hookah. So I compile those money, I work, I make money, and I start traveling. Just last year, I went to Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Poland, and I was scheduled to do another 4 countries, but I didn't have money. So I went to Armenia, took a break for 10 days, and came back to Los Angeles.
How long were you in Armenia?
September, October.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in Armenia. Now I'm planning on moving to Armenia in June, end of June, actually. And then this is my new philosophy. Everybody works for 11 months and takes a vacation for 1 month. I'm going to come to LA, work for a month, make my $10,000, $15,000, go back to Armenia and live 11 months by just vacationing in Armenia.
Well, we hope we learn from you.
Well, it's our choice. I mean, if we are going after enriching our pockets and making more money and more money, we are spending money on by obtaining the house, the car, the business, and such on. I just closed my gallery after 3 years of presenting 45 exhibitions of artists that no Armenian organization will tap into them because they're not guaranteed to bring money. They're not guaranteed to sell their paintings. Because we as Armenians are slaves to the idea that you need to be already accomplished by others, so we embrace you. My point is, if we don't enrich our youth and give them monetary value of their work, we are doomed to not exist. And we're already in that direction. Today, Armenian culture has changed from being Armenian to a Turkish, Persian, lyrics translated to Armenian, music presented as Armenian. And the younger generation, who are stupid and who are smart, there are two, and for everything there are 2 directions. The stupid are 51%. They feel that whatever they're hearing from our popular singers right now is purely Armenian, but it is purely Turkish, purely Arabic, and on April 24th, everybody's gonna go on the street and start yelling, buy a car, minchev. And we're just purchasing cars. We're not doing anything else. The smart ones are saying, listen, what you're presenting to us is not Armenian, because we have looked around the world and heard that music by another person 5 years ago. So you're not impressing us. And all this thing comes because we don't allocate funding to enrichment of culture. We allocate funding as businessmen to open up banquet halls, to open up restaurants, to anything related to the stomach, being in it or medical way of treating it after it becomes damaged. So because the US government has huge money allocated for any medical issues, and we Armenians are the smartest of all people, we know where the money is. Like dogs, we can smell the scent of the dollar. So we start opening up all medical type of businesses, and we encourage our kids to be involved in those things. 12 or 13 Armenian daily schools in Southern California, annual budget of $25 million each year, existed for 54 years, from first Armenian school to 2019. Not one Armenian writer has produced this community. One. Imagine, over 500,000 Armenians live in Southern California, 12 Armenian daily schools, not one Armenian writer. So we failed in our mission of opening Armenian schools. Oh, it's a safe place. No, drugs, sex, you name it. Armenian mothers showing off in front of each other to show who has a better car, who has a better diamond, who has a better clothes. Is it at Armenian schools? You don't see that thing in the public schools. So we have failed. And imagine if an Armenian kid who is a novelist, who writes in Armenian, has published 2 books annually and sold 20,000 copies of each book in a community that's 500,000 people live in. He made his $100,000. Every other Armenian kid will start writing Armenian.
Well,
so we don't need Armenia to become Armenians in the US.
I forgot the name, but on ARPA Film Festival, there was this kid, young kid, who wrote some books, but I just forget what was the name, and I don't know, maybe you know that. I wish I know we're talking about.
From Los Angeles?
Yes.
I don't know any Armenian kid who has written.
Well, I'll find in my website and I'll send you the link.
They have written in English, just like right now we're talking in English, not in
probably,
Armenian.
It's in English, it's not Armenian.
Exactly, and that's my point. Who cares about an English writing Armenian kid and spending $25 million a year for 13 schools to not be able to produce one Armenian writer? Bolis, Istanbul, with its 30,000 population or 40,000 Armenian population, has more Armenian schools, has more Armenian kids going to schools, and has more Armenian book published in Turkey than any free society from Yerevan. Well, Yerevan is a little bit better. Let's exclude Yerevan. Any society in the diaspora that is so proud of their April 24th marches. And that's it, nothing else.
Yeah.
Or if you become somebody known in that community by non-Armenians, they're like start brown-nosing you. So right now, if I become accepted by non-Armenians, then every Armenian who cursed me will become my best friend, because I know somebody in the non-Armenian society who has power, that is giving me power to utilize that power over the stupid Armenians. So now people will get mad at me when I say stupid Armenians, but that's the reality.
Yeah, I mean, they do. So and they also call you Satana, right?
Yeah, because when you question the Christian faith.
Hold for a second. So if you go. Still there?
Yeah, I am here.
I just put it on the screen. Is Armenian Pope Karekin is holding, when you arrive at the airport, he will.
Oh, he's gonna
stop this evil guy coming to our country.
Well, see, there are more evil people in Armenia than me, the honest, the straightforward, to your face saying person. I am not I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in an angel. Therefore, I don't believe in a Satan.
But you're taking your anti-crusader to the Mecca of Christianity in Armenia.
No, I'm not going there to do anything. I'm just going there to open up a GaruleLive center in Armenia, where basically I do my research of my books and present, because my idea of my Yes We Have book was Armenians in America. But the idea is to have books of different flags of the countries in the world that Armenians have served and made it into a better thing. So now that, because it's expensive, I can't publish the books. I'm creating an app called April 24th. Actually, it is on April 24th. That app is another free app that people can download and have it. And this information will be there. Right now, it has all the US from my books, not everything, because there are thousands and thousands of people who have contributed. So my going to Armenia is not to do anything except relax, enjoy the country. I care less about politics. I care less about religion.
Yeah, that was another thing. You don't talk too much politics, mostly social, isn't it?
Yes, culture.
Culture, social, yeah.
See, politics will come and go. Sert Sarkisian came and went. Levon Delbedrosian came and went. Kocharian came and went, is sitting in jail. Pashinyan came and he's going to go too. Things will change. Dikran Takavor came and went. All the Armenian kings came and went. Armenian kings went because of the Gatorgoses of the day. They screwed them. So politics will come and go. But once the culture goes, the people will go. And my crusade is about the culture. Today, just recently, I'm sure you were seeing how they were demolishing the cafes in the opera center.
Right.
So how stupid can you be in Armenia to say Abba Montajum for the destroying of the structures? When in Armenian, there is a word Abba Garutsum. Garutzel is to construct. When you destroy the structure, Abba Garutsum. No, it's an international word to say Abba Montajer. And how stupid can you be in Armenia to utilize an international word with another Armenian that you're talking, who is a nationalist just like you? So are we talking English to each other in Armenia, or are we talking Armenian? When I go to a different country who do not understand Armenian, I utilize English language. But just like in Armenia, when they say Asusatsvele, this is much more dangerous than Sert Sarkisian, Robert Kocharian, or the border with the Azeris. When the language is destroyed, the people are destroyed. When the people are destroyed, the country will be destroyed too. And that's what our enemies know about us. We are Odaramov. We love to say that we know something more than being Armenian. And when I say Abush, stupid to Armenians, I refer to them not knowing anything about their Armenian identity. You could be the world's greatest, the most famous doctor of Armenian origin, but you're a stupid Armenian if you don't know Armenian, or if you don't know the Armenian culture, or you don't know anything about your identity as an Armenian. And interestingly, a friend of mine posted something a couple of days ago where Hovannes Tumanyan, back in the day, has a paragraph about how stupid Armenians are by not knowing anything about themselves. And it's ironic that right now when I say that thing, people call me and curse me and yell at me. But even Hovannes Tumanyan said that thing 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Those of you came from Lebanon, because Lebanon was like Third Republic, Armenian. You guys had good education, school, universities.
Actually,
none of us come from other places. We had that privilege. And that's why...
It's a choice. Wally, it is a choice. I went to an Arabic school. I went to an Armenian school till 5th grade. And I had, I failed Armenian language. I failed Armenian history. I failed Armenian religion. And I failed Armenian geography. But I had a C as a total grade because my Arabic, English, math, sciences were good. And they wanted me to repeat the class at 5th grade. And my father said no. So I went to an Arabic school till 12th grade, from 5th grade to 12th grade. That's where I was getting developed. But it has nothing to do with Lebanon. It has nothing to do with the parents. I have a twin brother. He cares less. I have a twin brother who cares less. I am 180 degrees on this side. He is 180 degrees to the other side. So it is within us. It is me. It is you. Not your parents who taught you what to do. Look at Armenians today in Glendale. Their parents are teaching them how to be stupider than stupid that they were. So it is the individual who chooses to find into things. Since childhood, a teacher would come to the class and explain something, and I will question why. Don't just give me, this is 1 + 1 = 2. Explain to me why. The teacher would come with the physics solutions and said, this is how you need to know. I said, don't tell me what I need to know. Tell me why. And I questioned everything Armenian in life. And that's why I'm different than from the rest of us. And there are so many other people like me. I'm not saying I'm the only person who's questioning everything.
From my experience in Armenia, that I interview peoples, and I found out the 18-year-old to 25-year-old, I don't think they're churchgoer. They're more officially, or they say they are atheists and they don't believe. But don't hit the people at 40 and above. It's solid.
Yeah, because they are already programmed for survival to say something.
Yeah.
The younger generation does not give a damn about their proper way of survival, which is you need to have this. An 18-year-old will sleep on the street, will eat only something very cheap, and stay pure to his ideology. Unfortunately, I'm 56 right now. I'm still acting like an 18-year-old, and that's benefiting. Just a few days ago, yes.
Your audience will be more or less from 16 to 25, I bet.
No. My audience is everybody, because my haters watch me more often than my people who love what I say.
That's interesting.
And I'm just going to say something, I just remembered. 2 days ago, I was filling gas into my car. This young lady, I'm going to say 25, 26, 27, that age, or younger. She approached me and she goes, I watch your show and you have saved my life.
What?
I said, well, what did I do? She goes, you spoke about things that are taboos in the community. And I had always blamed myself for certain things I have done. But what you said, and especially about sexual behavior, is made me a calm person right now. I have no fear of what I have done in the past to hunt me, or it is the wrong things of to do. And I owe that happiness of my life today to you talking about those things. So that is where I am so proud of what I have done. Yet an older lady, just I'm sure you have seen, calls the show and says, I want you to stop what you're talking about. And I tell her, go watch something else. She goes, no, you need to stop what you're doing. Because they're just thinking like, okay, if he's talking in Armenian, then it belongs to every Armenian. I have no choice but listen to him. And then he accused me to be a snake. And I was going to tell her, your archbishop, your Gatoegos, in their cane, there are 4 or 2 or 1 snakes. I'm not the snake. I'm just a human being who's logically looking at religion.
You know, like people have, even in my profile, I put in there, disagree but don't hate, you know? Like people, everybody has opinion. Why can't people get educated, say, okay, that's his opinion, this is my, some people carry the cross on their shoulder. Fine. It's your belief, it's fine.
See, the unfortunate part is we as Armenians come from the mentality that we know everything and everything we do is the right thing. I always say, people come to the United States of America to get educated except Armenians. Because Armenians, the minute they are out of their mother's womb, they're the Google, they're the Yahoo, they're the encyclopedia. They know everything. And that's how unfortunate we are. And we don't choose to be educated because we know everything. See, if I know, you ask me a question, and if I don't know about that question, the answer, I will tell you I don't know. But 51% of Armenians, they will tell you what they think of that thing and enforce it on you.
Well, here is my suggestion to you. I don't know, I know you don't see it because we have some problem. But
I saw the Gatoegos' image. It
no,
like
this is different one. I created statues for you. I suggest you you go in Yerevan, You remember that place we filmed? The guy behind us, what was Arno? Who was?
Arno Babajanyan,
Right.
yeah.
So something like that, you create some statue in some park, and Partamian statue, and every Sunday you go there and people come. You're like, I think.
Well, that will happen. That will happen after I die, because Armenian. There you go. I see it right now. Wow, you have me topless. Armenian woman will go crazy right now.
Just
Armenian women will go crazy because they have never seen a topless man.
Yeah.
I did my live show in December, calling The Naked Truth, and I went on the air topless.
That was. I'm sorry to stop you there. I was crossing my finger. I thought, I hope he doesn't come topless.
Well, it was The Naked Truth, and I was topless. So you can't believe how many Armenian men called me saying their wives saw me naked. I said, well, I was topless. I wasn't naked. And I told one of them, I said, you came from, and their majority are Hayastansis, because the backwarded people of Armenians are the Hayastansis. Oh, they hate me right now. No, the smart ones, they know what I'm talking about. The stupid ones, they hate me.
Yeah.
So I told them, I said, you came from Armenia, you had $50 in your pocket. And I said, you're a hardworking man, you worked your butt off, and you made money. The first thing you did is you took your child and your wife to Cancun. I said, your wife saw all those huge, big, muscled Latin men over there with their Speedos. She didn't get affected by seeing those things. And when she saw my 210 pounds body with my hairy body, she was like, she became so into me. Because Armenian men are afraid of their existence. Therefore, they think their wives should not see anything. Have you noticed how Armenian men will take their wives, especially the younger generation in Los Angeles, to the restroom at any of the restaurants? They will walk with them hand to hand, take them to the restroom, to the female's restroom, wait for them outside.
No
when
way.
They come out,
Really?
they hold on their hands and take them back to the table.
No.
This is how ignorant Armenian younger generation is today.
I never seen that. That's
You
weird.
see, why do you think all the fights at Armenian restaurants happen? Why are you looking at my wife? I'll be happy if I have a wife and men are looking at her. I'll be happy saying, Assos, she's coming with me to my place tonight.
Wow.
But they are so they're not they don't have self-esteem. They're not secure of themselves.
Well, we're far away from Los Angeles, so we don't know those stories, you know.
Well, I always say Los Angeles is 25 years ahead of any Armenian diaspora city in the world. And it's not going to the better, it's going to the worst. My Naked Truth show was about how till 1960s, there was the understanding of an America high. In 1970s, there was the understanding of Irana high, Iraka high. In 1980s, there was the understanding of Lipana high, Surya high. And in 1990s, when Armenia became independent, we had the Hayastansi. Now, I'm not saying anything bad. What I'm saying, this is how the development of the Armenians in the United States happened. Now, the understanding is this. Menk Hayenk, we are Armenians. The rest of the people living in Los Angeles are Amerigatsi. We benefit from everything America provides us, but we are not Americans. So every 10-year generation hates the other one. And that was the naked truth I explained on my show.
Yeah.
Nobody listened to it except they were getting erections and women were having hot flashes by seeing me naked, apparently. And every man in Armenia watching that thing wanted to do me. And I said to one of them, caller, I said, I didn't know Armenian men in Armenia are turning into gay and they're only into men. Yet, in Armenian TV programs, with the soap operas, from Los Angeles to Yerevan, you see a man cheating on his wife with another woman. They're making love. And lately I just saw one of them. They're actually doing a doggy style on camera with the clothes on, and the camera is half shot up, and that's normal because it's coming from Hayastan, and Hayastansis are doing it. But if Stepan Partamian does topless show, then Amote, So everybody is looking outside of their kitchen and they think they're the purest of all. I'm just saying the truth, therefore everybody's mad at me.
Lots of hypocrisy.
Oh, definitely. I always make a fun saying when you look into any dictionary to word Armenian, next to it is written a hypocrite.
Yeah.
See, right now, April 24th is coming. Okay? And just recently there was a fundraising for the demonstration to happen. And what's going to achieve? For the last, what year did you come to LA, Wally?
Well, I haven't been here maybe 25 years, but not LA.
I was here in 1981.
Yeah.
I was a 19-year-old, 1981. I organized the Armenian April 24th commemorations. I was one of the organizers, presenting one of the political parties. I was involved in the Artsakh demonstrations and everything. And at age younger than this, I realized that none of those demonstrations benefit anything. None of the elderly at that time told me, Stepan, all the effort that you're doing, 5-6 days away from home, working on this thing to have the perfect demonstration is going to benefit you. Right now, at age 56, I'm telling all the younger generation, the universe has changed. There are so many other ways of commemorating. And one of them is to celebrate our existence and our victories. Because people on the planet don't like losers. People love winners. You look at Armenians. If I came to the community and did exactly what I'm doing, and everybody knew that I have $10 billion in my bank account, everybody would have said, Baron Partamian inch khelatsi. What a smart man is Mr. Partamian. But I'm saying exactly what I'm saying, and everybody knows I'm saying the truth. He's a cuckoo guy.
Yeah, I know.
So our celebrations is our victories, and we have lots of them. Therefore, I created that word, GaruleLive, instead of genocide. But again, it's going to take probably another 300 years for the stupid Armenians to realize that there was a better way of...
What was average, how many people watch your average shows when you do the party loose?
I say, nobody loves me, nobody cares about me, so nobody watches me. Because Armenians have this tendency to know, on Facebook, there is 500 people watching him, so he's saying something good. Or, 100,000 people watched him. I say I'm just doing it because I exist today. If any young person listens to me and advances in life, that's my end result. They could watch me one person, they could watch me 10,000 people. Just if you want statistics, the show for 24 years I've been doing shows. And on an average, within 5-6 years, there'll be like 2,000-3,000 people on YouTube watching my shows. My subscribers were 275 people. That naked show, the Naked Truth show, in 1 month had 40,000 viewers, and my YouTube channel membership subscribers went up to 3,288 people.
Yeah.
So that shows you how stupid Armenians are.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
You need to do something extraordinary. That's what they say. Especially in Armenia, they utilize this word. I forgot the word.
So tell us about Armenia. What is you gonna do in Armenia?
In Armenia, I'm gonna open up a location on April 24th, 2020. There'll be a center called GaruleLive Center, which will be an exhibition space with couple offices for research. In that exhibition space, on a monthly basis, I will exhibit an Armenian who has contributed to humanity and 7.5 billion people are benefiting from. And they are children or individuals after the genocide. So basically,
that's a really good project.
Yeah. So basically I'm telling, and it's going to be free to people to come, the younger generation to walk in Armenian and English to read, and understand who Oscar Banker is, Asadur Sarafyan, who Ardashis Aykamian is, who John Najarian is, who Emik Avakian is, who those are, I'm just giving you names of the US-based people, and usually it is the US-based Armenians who have contributed to humanity. Every other country, you see people contributing, but it is more local. But because of the US being the major power on this planet, that everybody wants to come here, which I'm leaving to Armenia, is how they have affected the 7.5 people, humans, and billions of animals on this planet with the findings they have done. So that center will be called GaruleLive, and Armenians made fun of me when I created that word GaruleLive some 10, 15 years ago. Till a couple of years ago, Professor Israel Charney from Jerusalem University wrote to me, and he is the founder of the Armenian Genocide Scholars Association. He is the godfather of all genocide scholars, who wrote to me and said, "What a wonderful word you have created. It is the antidote to the rotten word genocide. And it's not that that word will do good to Armenians only, it will do good to humanity." And I'll be utilizing that word.
We have 4 minutes left. Tell whatever you want. It's yours. Just say it.
Well, Armenian religion, regardless of what it is, Christianity, being Muslim, being Hindu, being Jewish, being Buddhist, it is just a way of making you an international person. It is your right to choose any of these. But I am an Armenian, and I will stay as a nationalist Armenian. Therefore, I cannot be any of those religions. I can only be, or I cannot even be a pagan Armenian. Because people tell me you're a pagan Armenian. No, I am an Armenian. I am a knowledgeable Armenian, and I want Armenia to be the most powerful planet, most powerful government on this planet. And we do have the keys. We are scattered all over the world. And that's our benefit. We are just like, I don't think there are any other nation on this planet who is all over the world, and each of them have a key position. But the unfortunate part is we don't utilize that power. I always say, the smartest Armenian, 10 of them you bring together, the physicist, the biologist, the mathematician, the philosopher, they're all the smartest of all people on the planet. You bring them together, that group will be the worst people on the planet because they cannot work together. Because others are nationalists, Armenians are selfish, including myself. I'm a selfish Armenian, and my selfishness is I want to see Armenia and Armenians to be great on this planet. Therefore, if it is a war, I have to say to the idiot Armenian, you're an idiot Armenian. I can say, because that's more damaging to the identity of the next generations to come. Because they're not going to take the BS of what our grandparents and everybody's ancestors providing us, saying that we are the best of all people. No, we are the best because we have things to do, we have done, and we will do.
Well, thank you very much. It was great. Lots of information. And I hope people who is watching and make their mind and appreciate your knowledge, appreciate your opinion. And we wish you all the luck going Yerevan.
Thank you.
I hope we come and visit you and see you your place.
Definitely.
All the best to you.
Thank you very much. I wish every Armenian.
Just stay there for a minute. Let me close it. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Next Thursday we have another show is coming, Armenian Highland, and then we have some other ones next week coming. And thank you for watching. We'll see you into another episode. Thank you.